Thanks, Clive. Hello, I'm Jennifer Jones with the headlines in Wales. A cold drink in the shade on the hottest day of the year. We hear how thousands heading to the Principality Stadium tonight are coping with the heat.
We've got our fans, our Welsh fans, with the flag on.
The weather's lovely, but I'm not sure it's the weather for standing in the stadium. But we're going to front it out and be cool.
Yeah.
But while many lap up the sunshine, we're reminded to check in on vulnerable friends and family. Also tonight, a suspended sentence for 19-year-old Jack Hale, who crashed his car into a campsite, seriously injuring several people. 3 sites are chosen for the new Welsh Government-backed onshore wind farms, which could power around a quarter of Welsh homes.
And after an unforgettable fortnight here in Switzerland, Wales's players preparing to face England this weekend say they just don't want to leave this tournament.
It's been overwhelming from just the support from home. But yeah, I've had the best time. I'm having the best time.
Good evening, noswaith dda chi. Well, it's been the hottest day of the year so far, and health officials are urging people to check in on vulnerable family members and neighbours as temperatures continue to rise across the country. Today, highs of 32 Celsius were recorded in Cardiff and Usk. The hot conditions are expected to continue into the weekend, meaning many are having to take extra precautions as they try to keep cool in the sunshine. Here's Lucy Vladev.
It's one of the hottest days of the year, especially if you're a Stereophonics fan in Cardiff.
The weather's lovely, but I'm not sure it's the weather for standing in the stadium. But we're going to front it out and be cool.
With the concert season in full swing and tens of thousands of fans at tonight's gig, many are finding their own ways to stay cool.
Plenty of refreshments.
Is that how you're going to manage
Plenty of beverages, yeah.
Food, we've got food and wheat, and then, we're just going to get in there and get in the shade if there's any.
How are you preparing for Stereophonics?
With a fan, just a fan, and I'm going for drinks.
Yeah, drinks.
Drinks and fan.
Drinks and a fan.
Yeah.
And they're not the only group of fans taking on the heat. In Carnarvon, organisers of this festival have extra plans in place.
All our venues will have free drinking water, that's a big one. All of our venues are indoors or outside in shade, so hopefully people can take advantage of that, and also the people attending will take a bit of personal responsibility as well.
The third heat wave of the year tomorrow is expected to be the hottest day. Demand on water, according to Dŵr Cymru, expected to increase by 20%, something with climate change we'll all need to get used to.
Under the current climate, which has changed significantly in the last 40 years, first of all, heat waves are likely to become more frequent, more intense and geographically more widespread. But not only that, the chances of seeing 40 degrees across England and Wales through the next 12 years eventually will be 50-50.
For many people, temperatures in the high 20s means it's an excuse to slather on the sun cream and step outside. But the message, as ever, is to be more cautious if you're vulnerable, older or have young children keen to get to the beach.
The warm weather for a lot of people is going to be fantastic, and it's going to be a real boost for their well-being, especially across the weekend when they can get out and about with family and friends. But we also want everybody to just keep an eye out for those people who maybe haven't got somebody giving them a gentle reminder. So give your nan a ring, check in on your elderly neighbours, make sure the little ones are okay, and let's look after one another this weekend so that we can all have a good one.
But it's not just humans, of course. Cats, dogs and, yes, pigs feel the heat too.
These are our 7 Mangalica pigs. They're a Hungarian breed, and as you can see, they're hairy, so we call them our sheep pigs. They're at the biggest risk with getting heat stroke because pigs can't sweat. They do need to lay in the mud, which cools their temperature down.
But for those of us who don't want to try laying in mud as a technique to stay cool, the advice is keep hydrated, in the shade, and find a few fans.
And we will, of course, have a full weekend weather forecast with Derek later in the programme. But first, to the rest of the day's news. And a teenager who crashed his car into a campsite in Pembrokeshire just 3 weeks after passing his driving test, seriously injuring 4 people, has narrowly avoided a period in a young offenders institution. Jack Hale, who is now 19, lost control of his Ford Fiesta on the A487 in Newgale on the evening of August the 12th, 2023. Aled Schofield was at Swansea Crown Court.
This was the aftermath of the horrific crash in Newgale, which seriously injured 4 people, but which the judge said could so easily have resulted in fatalities. There was a huge response by emergency services to what was a major incident on the Pembrokeshire coast. The following day, the trail of destruction was clear to see. Broken glass and wrecked tents, evidence of the devastation caused the night before by a car driven dangerously by a local teenager. On the evening of the 12th of August 2023, Jack Hale was speeding down this hill from the direction of Haverfordwest. As he got to the bottom, he lost control of his vehicle, careering into the campsite. The Ford Fiesta was travelling at 66 miles an hour down the hill before it slowed to 55 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, almost double the speed limit. The car flipped several times, landing on tents where a 2-year-old toddler and a baby were sleeping. They miraculously escaped injury. But 3 people, Emma Lewis, Daniel Staniforth and Paul Warburton, were pinned under the car. They were eventually freed by bystanders. Oliver Copeland, a passenger in the car, was also seriously injured. A summary of the victim impact statements was read to the court. Emma Lewis said she felt her body shutting down as she was pinned under the Ford Fiesta, and she suffered burns in the incident. She still suffers from post-traumatic stress, nightmares and flashbacks, and sleeps on the floor of her son's bedroom. Hale from Simpsons Cross had previously admitted causing serious injury by dangerous driving. His barrister, David Thomas, said he'd written to the victims to express his remorse, and he was a 17-year-old who had just passed his test when the crash happened. Judge Hugh Rees said it was pure good fortune that nobody had died in the incident, but he accepted that Hale felt deep remorse for the crash. He sentenced him to 20 months in a young offenders institution, suspended for 18 months. He disqualified him from driving for 2 years, and Hale will be required to take an extended driving test before he's allowed back on the roads. Jack Hale did not wish to comment or face the cameras as he left court.
A former Conservative MP will face trial in 2028 after being charged with betting offences. Craig Williams, who has represented Montgomeryshire and Cardiff North, appeared at Southwark Crown Court in London today. He has not indicated a plea. Former Tory Senedd member Russell George and 11 others deny betting offences relating to the date of the 2024 general election. A total of 15 people will face trial in 2027 and in 2028. Now, Wales's publicly owned renewable energy developer has announced where it plans to build its first 3 wind farms. Trydan Gwyrdd Cymru, Green Energy Wales, say the projects will bring hundreds of jobs and power around a quarter of Welsh homes. But some argue offshore power should be the priority. Carwyn Jones has been finding out.
A blot on the landscape or an important source of renewable energy. Wind farms have been dividing opinions for years, but the Welsh Government certainly see a future. And now, Trydan Gwyrdd Cymru, the publicly owned renewable energy developer, is announcing its first wind farm projects.
So typically, if we're looking at 400 megawatts across the 3 projects, during the construction phase, we're looking at 650 local jobs. And during operations, we're looking at 40 direct jobs and a further 55 indirect jobs.
The first 3 proposed wind farms will see 67 turbines across Wales, enough to generate electricity to power the average needs of 350,000 homes. The wind farms will be Cloceunog 2 wind farm built near Llynbrennig, along the border between Conwy and Denbighshire, Glyncothi wind farm near Brechfa in Carmarthenshire, and Carreg Wen wind farm between Aberdare and Meirdy in Rhondda Cynon Taf. The Welsh Government has set a target to generate enough renewable electricity to meet 70% of what's used in Wales by 2030, rising to 100% by 2035. But with electricity demand projected to nearly triple by 2050, are these plans enough to keep up with the demand?
Just in the last few weeks, we've had the announcement that the Crown Estate has allocated 2 big sites just off the coast in the Celtic Sea for floating offshore wind. Now that's going to make a big contribution, and there are other opportunities for other forms of renewable technology right across Wales.
And with the promise of new jobs, many are welcoming the new projects.
These projects are integral to everything that Jones Brothers do. Jones Brothers is at the forefront of trying to achieve the quest for net zero by 2050 in Wales, and these jobs will enable our workforce to contribute towards that.
But while some welcome the news, others have concerns.
Since we have an enormous potential for generating green energy offshore with offshore wind turbines, we really don't see that there's any need to put them in as many places onshore as is being planned.
Natural Resources Wales, which manages the land where the turbines will be built, said it would ensure all infrastructure was integrated carefully into the working forest and that tree clearance will be kept to a minimum. But with planning approval still pending, it may be a little longer before we see which way the wind blows on these new projects.
That was Karen Jones reporting there. The renowned singer and actress Iris Williams has died at the age of 79 following an illness. Born in Pontypridd, Rhondda-Cynon-Taf in 1946, her career saw her perform around the world, including in the US, where she was living at the time of her death. Her hits include He Was Beautiful and Pererin Wyf, a Welsh language version of Amazing Grace. Now, if you were to ask a young person who the First Minister of Wales is, do you think they would know the answer? Well, a recent survey by the Children's Commissioner for Wales suggests they probably wouldn't. Rosio Cifuentes is now calling for a stronger focus on politics in schools, and she's been speaking to our reporter, Sarah David.
We've got 2 people on the board there. Do you know who they are, what they do?
I know who Keir Starmer is. He's obviously the Prime Minister, but the woman, I have literally never seen her in my life.
For some, it's obvious, but for others, these faces aren't so familiar.
I know he's been one of the Prime Ministers over the years. I don't know the second one, though.
The lady, I've never seen her in my life. I don't recognise her name at all.
A recent report shows that of around 200 secondary school pupils asked across Wales, only 8% could identify the First Minister, Eluned Morgan, and less than half knew who the Prime Minister is.
I think the government in England is a lot more publicised than the Senedd.
The first thing that people realised, oh, we might have something different to England in politics was when the 20-mile-per-hour rule came in. I get most of my news through social media. It's just one of them things like TikTok and Instagram. No one under the age of, I'd say, like 45 reads newspapers.
It's not an uncommon issue that children and young people aren't as engaged with politics, but according to experts, it's more important than ever here in Wales, with the Senedd elections less than a year away and 16-year-olds able to vote.
There's a sense in the UK that this is politicising schools, and I think that's a problem, because I think you need to start earlier. I think you need to actually try and inculcate people into an understanding of the structures that govern us.
From the media to schools to our politicians, the message is that everyone has a responsibility to educate the next generation of voters.
We are really doing children and young people a disservice by not educating them effectively. So there's a huge opportunity, a huge responsibility that schools have to equip children and young people with the skills and information that they need.
Do you have discussions about it at home? No. And do you watch the news at home with your family? No.
The Welsh Government say that supporting learners to vote is a mandatory part of the curriculum. But even for teachers, it can be hard to put pen to paper.
As an educator, I found it difficult to find solid, credible sources that are aimed at young people. Some of the documentation is very word heavy, and we just need to simplify things so that they can have a clearer understanding.
By next year, some of these children will be old enough to head to the polls. So let's hope that by then they'll be able to recognise who they're voting for.
Sarah David reporting there. Still to come in the programme. We meet Ynys Môn superfans Pete and his mates, who have no connection to Wales, but they're on their way to Orkney to support their team at the Island Games.
And the weather's serving up a heatwave this weekend, with lots more sunshine and toasty temperatures taking centre court. How long will it last? Join me later to find out.
Well, football next, and it seems Gareth Bale's interest in buying his home club isn't going away anytime soon. The former Wales and Real Madrid forward says the consortium he leads has launched a brand new offer for Cardiff City after reportedly making an initial offer last month. Our reporter George Zielinski joins us with more. George.
Hi, Jen. Well, this is a story that could rumble on for a little while longer yet. And as you say, we reported in June that Bale and the group that he's involved with made direct contact with the Cardiff owner Vincent Tan with a proposal to take a controlling share in the club. Now, that offer was rebuffed, with Tan thought to have reservations about selling the club at the moment. Now, last month, Bale confirmed the bid was something that he was a part of and that more news would come out in the future. Well, today we do have a new update, with Bale saying he and his consortium have submitted a new bid. Now, here is Gareth Bale speaking to the US broadcaster Front Office Sports about that new bid.
We think it's very fair, very, if not more than fair, and yeah, something that we hope the current owners will take serious, and yeah, we'd love them to accept, so we can take, I guess, full control and yeah, get on with what we want to do and create Cardiff into a club that we know it can be.
Now, as we know, it's been a turbulent time on the pitch for Cardiff City, relegated to League One at the end of last season, playing in the third tier of English football for the first time in more than 20 years. Bale, as you can see in that clip, clearly very keen to be part of a group that will aim to rejuvenate the club. We haven't heard from Cardiff officially or directly yet on any of the updates, but let's not forget, Vincent Tan is a man who's invested more than £200 million into Cardiff since he bought the club in 2010. And at this stage, it does seem like he might need some convincing to relinquish control just yet. OK,
George, thank you. Keep us posted on that. Well, as Wales's women prepare for their final group game at the Euros, the players say the whole experience has been totally unreal. They face England, of course, on Sunday next. Well, tomorrow, Thomas is in Switzerland for us, and advancing in this competition, Thomas, is a tall order for Wales, but how would they do it?
Yeah, a remote chance, but you never know, Jen. Wales would have to beat England by 4 clear goals to have any chance of progressing. I was struck by the positivity in camp today, chatting to the players. They say they've been overwhelmed by the support here in Switzerland and back home as well. They say they're living their best lives and they simply don't want to leave Switzerland just yet.
Tournament and football games in general, there can be surprises, and there's always the underdogs, and we've been that through all 3 games. So why not? Why not us? The experience on a whole, the fans have made it amazing, like unreal. The football, the stadiums, everything around it, even the team bus, and just being on a Wales-themed bus with the Euros on the side has been, everything's been a pinch me type of moment.
Kath Morgan has joined me, former Wales captain, of course. Kath, another big game. What would you like to see from this Wales side this weekend?
I just think that more of the same. You know, we saw glimpses of really good play against France. We were competitive. Can we now do that maybe for, you know, bigger periods in the game and take a few chances, because we know once that goal went in against France, you know, the red wall erupted, and that's what people want to see. So I think the players are trying to prove themselves as well.
It's about cutting out those mistakes. If you look back at that France game, there was a penalty conceded, a couple of goalkeeping errors. If you cut those out, Does that give Wales a bit of hope this weekend?
Absolutely, but you know, at this level, it's very difficult to do. But I think the girls have high standards themselves, and they are willing themselves to have one last very good, positive performance. So I think we know what's at stake.
Frian Wilkinson made a few changes in the last game. It's a third game in, 8 days now. Are you expecting more changes on Sunday?
I do believe there will be changes physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, we've all been through it, haven't we, for the last 10 days. So I think that'll be no different for the players. But, you know, one thing is certain, these players will give everything and will leave everything on the field.
We could chat all night, and we will, over dinner. Much more from Switzerland on tomorrow's programme.
Thomas, thank you. Enjoy that dinner. Well, rugby now, and you'd have to go all the way back to October 2023 for Wales's last Test victory. Since then, 18 successive defeats. Can they put an end to that desperate run against Japan tomorrow? Well, David Jones reports from Kobe.
Wales have been in Kobe this week, getting ready for one last effort. The supporters have arrived also, and in fine voice. They've seen Wales lose 18 now on the bounce, but remain upbeat.
We've had a very hard 2 years as supporters, but we still maintain our enthusiasm for Wales. We still support, we come on tours, we support the team, but I'm really hoping for a win on Saturday.
Us as Welsh supporters, we lose a bit of heart of what we can do as Welsh players. But at the end of the day, with a bit of luck, we will win the game Saturday, and I'm hoping that we do.
The players have got back to work. They've tried their utmost to put behind them the disappointment of last weekend.
I'll be honest, it was a tough changing room after. The boys have put so much into the week that what I didn't want to do was get them back in Monday and almost reopen the wounds. So I've got to say the staff, the support staff, more the S&C and the medics, their energy has been brilliant. You wouldn't know if it was a team that won 10 on the trot or lost 10 on the trot. They're a good group. I think we've gone back into as good a place as we can.
It was extremely hot and humid last weekend, and conditions again testing tomorrow with the stadium roof here in Kobe firmly shut.
I know there'll be no sun and it's probably a bit more in shade, but sometimes the ball gets a bit wetter, the floor gets a bit wetter, so we'll yet to see. But you know, we won't make any excuses for the weather or the surroundings, so we'll just make sure we get our stuff right.
Well, if Wales do get everything right, they'll give themselves a shot at ending that barren run.
So it's already been a very busy summer of sport, and tomorrow we'll see the start of the International Island Games. Held this year in Orkney, over 2,000 athletes from 24 islands, including Ynys Môn, will be taking part. Gareth Wynne Roberts reports.
Pete Miller is a self-confessed Island Games superfan. With brothers Rob and Richard and a friend called Dave, they've attended every edition of the multi-sport games since 2015. But hailing from Hertfordshire, they have no links whatsoever to any of the competing islands, let alone an island off the northwest coast of Wales.
We kind of thought, if we're going to go out there as four lads that normally support football quite vocally, we could probably offer a little bit of support to one of the islands that might not have anybody out there supporting. And so we went through a whole process of looking at all 24 islands and working out which team to pick. And there was a whole kind of set of criteria and decisions that we went through. We ended up supporting Ynys Môn. From that moment on, we've just been part of the Ynys Môn family, and we've been to every game since and probably always will do.
This year's games will be held off the Scottish coast in Orkney, and 106 athletes will travel from Ynys Môn.
It's a huge commitment. A lot of these girls have been doing their GCSEs, their A-levels. We've got a girl that's just started university. So they've had to balance all of the revision, all of their time. They get to miss out on things with their friends.
It's been about 700 each for the accommodation there and the bus down.
But it's worth it?
Yeah, definitely.
2 years ago in Guernsey, Ynys Môn secured a record haul of 18 medals.
Youth experience, and there's some new members who are champions in the cross-country world, in the sprinting and the endurance world on the track as well.
It's an amazing experience. I don't think there's a word that can describe it except for amazing. The atmosphere and the crowds were just on another level there, and we were so welcome to the games and really looking forward to this one. 2 years on, I've kept on training, hopefully develop further. So I'm hoping this year I'll maybe be able to push for the medals, but definitely try and knock my time down quite a bit.
Known as the Friendly Games, the Ynys team will be heading out to Orkney planning to give their very best. Representing Wales as well as their island, hopefully the returning party will also include a few medals.
Gareth Wyn-Williams there. Well, I think it's a little cooler in Orkney than it is here, so let's get the weekend forecast. Derek is out in the sunshine for us. Where exactly are you, Derek?
Hi Jen, welcome to Penarth Tennis Club. It's a busy evening here. We've got club finals taking place on the courts behind me. It's also Friday night, which means social tennis. Anyone can join in, even me. Now, some people will say it's a bit too hot for tennis. It's certainly toasty here this evening in Penarth. Temperatures in most places have been in the high 20s today. We've seen 30 Celsius in Newbridge-on-Wye in Powys. Hotter in the southeast, 32 in Cardiff and Usk, making it the hottest day of the year so far. Also the hottest July day in Wales since 2022. And the heat wave is set to continue over the weekend, peaking on Saturday with lots more strong sunshine. So don't forget the sun cream and stay hydrated. Also, pollen levels, grass pollen, will remain very high as well. Now, tonight will stay fine and clear with almost a full moon rising, and it's going to be a warm night. You may have trouble sleeping. Lowest temperatures 14 to 16 Celsius and no lower than 17 on parts of the coast. Now, tomorrow's chart shows a ridge of high pressure extending from Scandinavia across the UK, the jet stream over Iceland, with the whole of the UK enveloped in very warm and humid air. So tomorrow, Saturday, another fine day, sunshine from dawn until dusk. There's a small chance of an isolated shower breaking out on Banau Brycheiniog, the Brecon Beacons, later in the afternoon. And temperatures similar to today, very warm, hot and humid again with not much in the way of wind. Temperatures widely in the high 20s or low 30s, 32, maybe 33 Celsius in the southeast, making it hotter than most of Portugal. So beach and barbecue weather if you fancy a paddle. Sea surface temperatures typically 16 to 20 Celsius. And then on Sunday, more dry and sunny weather, but a few clouds may develop in the afternoon. Could see 1 or 2 showers breaking out. Temperatures a little lower than on Saturday, but still very warm or hot and feeling humid, maybe a bit breezier on some southern and western coasts. And for the Wimbledon finals taking place this weekend, it's going to be dry and hot. Saturday, the sunniest day with a high of 31 Celsius. So there we are. This weekend is going to be the hottest of the year so far. Enjoy the Wimbledon finals, and if you find this heat too much, it will turn cooler and fresher next week, Jen.
Derek, thank you very much. And that is all from the Wales Today team for now. Liz Clements will be here at 10:30 tonight, but until then, thanks for watching, and do keep cool in this heat. Bye-bye.